Computer. Okay, so you guys are working on your final projects. So as I was looking at your last set of drawings, remember we're doing flat patterns. So what's the whole purpose behind a flat pattern? I mean, some of you turned in your 3D models, and you looked at those and said, "Yep, that's what it looks like." But I already know what the finished model looks like. I wanted the flat pattern. So the flat patterns are the things that are going to tell us how to bend it. So there should be, phantom lines showing us the bend lines. Which am I going to bend it up? Am I going to bend it down? So I know how to make the part. So we've got the template of the part shown with, okay, there's our material. Now we've got to take that shape and we've got to fold it and bend it into the right shape. So as you're working through your final drawing or your final project, remember that you're going to have your finished product, which is going to be your package. When you flat pattern it, you still need to have those lines that are going to show me how I'm going to fold it. Because of course you're going to have one folded, but I mean, I'm going to need one that I'm going to print off that I'm going to fold as well. So I need the proof to show me, okay, fold it up, fold it down. Don't assume that I know how to fold it because I don't. I mean, a fold line, unless you tell me to break it up. An example that I would use from industry is when I was doing paint panels. I would, on my drawings, have break lines, or, my flat patterns, I would say break up at 45 degrees, break up at 30 degrees, break down. So they knew that, oh, hey, that's going to be the lip. So when I break it up, and they break the next one up, and then it breaks the panel back, that becomes the lip that they're going to bolt together. Otherwise, where do they start? They don't know. So, all those lines need to be there. So when you create a flat pattern, it shouldn't just be a flat pattern, in SolidWorks, like, oh, hey, there's a flat pattern. It should be in a drawing with labels and dimensions. Where are the flat patterns? Because you are creating drawings, but those drawings are just on a piece of paper. The guys that are going to be in the shop, they're going to lay those out on the true size, shape, material, and they're going to have to score those and get those set so that they can break them. It's not just look at it and say, oh, I see how it's going to work, and then I'll just make it. They've actually got to measure it, lay it out, and do all the things, transfer your work from your paper to what they would be their paper, which would be their steel, their cardboard, whatever it is that they're creating for their folds and their bends. So we have to make sure that all of those things are in place. So many of you turned in your fidget spinners. So now you have your base part to start with. So now start focusing on that. So I would start maybe as an assembly and design a part around it, and then delete the fidget spinner out of it. That would be one way of doing it. When you submit those, remember, how do we submit assemblies? Have we talked about that? No? Okay. The way that we're going to do that, and I'm going to fire up SolidWorks, and I'll show you on my SolidWorks here, is we're going to use something called a step file. Rather than sending these zip files and things like that, so that I have to download and open and reopen, I just have a generic block here that I'll share with you. Okay, so I have this block that's here, and this is a drawing or a 3D model, something from EG110 actually. But if I go up to File and I go Save As, and I'm going to go to a step file, and I'm going to save this. Change this to step demo. And as I save that, I'm going to open. Where's my step demo? Did it save? All right, so it's there. I don't see it. Where are you? There it is. So now when I bring it in, notice that it comes in as a step, and it tells me it's a step file. So I can still see all the things that are with it. I can measure it, but it's not really the same thing as an actual part. So when you do an assembly, let me bring in another one that I saved for my 190 class. And this is something that I just recently learned from Mr. Estes. We were working with some where's Malmer's engine? Finish files. Where did I put it? I have an Elmer's engine. I'm going to do this. Ugh. Just a minute. I thought I had that file saved right there, but it'll pop up when I bring back SolidWorks. So I took the Elmer's engine and I saved it as a step file. So this is something that I could send to you, you could send to me. And notice that all my parts have turned into, we call them stupid models because you can't do anything with them. So I can't do a motion study with this, but with a step file, if you were to send me an assembly as a step file, it just blocks them all together. You can still manipulate around, look at, you can still measure. You can't check mates, the mates don't show up. But you can check, measure, do all kinds of things. You can look at individual pieces, parts, just like you did before, but now it's just as a step file, which, remember, if you sent me an assembly file, I couldn't open it unless I had everything in a special file, which is a nightmare. So the step file just allows us to just bring that one part in. So when you send that assembly of that part, send it as a step file so I can see it all as one. So we're talking about the your package with your fidget spinner inside it. That's going to be a step file. So just create your assembly, save it as a step file, and then you'll send the step file to me. And this is what this one's called, ward-elmer.sts step 1. Remember, we're going to use that. It's the oldest one. There's two types. There's the 03 and the 214. We want to use the 03. It's the older one. It seems to work the best with most systems. So that's the one we're going to save our step files as, so that we can move those across and get those brought back in. Going back to so our packaging. I'm not sure how you guys are coming along on that, but I just want to check in and see how you feel that you're doing with that. Oops. Any thoughts, comments, concerns, worries? Doing pretty well. Okay, so remember, in that finished project, I'm looking for a completed package. In the drawing of your package, I want the flat pattern layout with it all laid out and dimensioned, so that I can verify those dimensions and get those things laid out. So that will be what we're working on for this week and next week. And then we have our final exam. So I'm going to open up the final exam next week, Monday. And with your final exam, you're going to get 2 hours and 30 minutes to take it. So that takes away any issues with, internet having, connectivity issues or computer issues. So I'm giving you 30 minutes more than everybody else gets. So when you call me and say, oh, I couldn't submit it, I'm not going to feel sorry for you, because I gave you an extra 30 minutes to take care of that. So that's going to be up to you to make sure that you manage your time and make sure that you are taking care of the things that you need to take care of for your submittal. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns with the grading? So I had part of my grading model messed up when I got this class from Mr. Estes. So I had all of our assignments were projects and they weren't counting. So I switched it. So if you checked your grade, you notice your grade may have gone up or may have gone down. Not drastically. Well, if you went from an A to a B plus, you're like, well, that was drastic. But it was marked with a project. We're marked 50%, and we only had one project. Okay, so right now we have just one project, but that project is valued as much because now we're putting the assignments. I changed it from project to assignment. So it just kind of changed the grades a little bit. As I looked at those grades, I thought they were pretty representative of those people who are not showing up. Yeah, they're not doing very well. The people that are here all the time, you guys are doing just fine. So just keep up the good work. You should have gotten an email yesterday about evaluations, class evaluations. You'll see those on your front page of Blackboard. This year, this semester, more important than any semester so far, because of this whole online thing. The college really needs to hear from you. Okay, so I'm not worried about what happens. If you're unhappy with some things that have happened in our class, I want you to express those because, it's likely this could happen again. And we want to be prepared for it. So this is not a personal attack, and I would not take that in any way, shape, or form. This is your opportunity to speak out how you feel things went. If there are things you thought that could have been different or better, those are all things that we need to know. Because this is, I can see it from my point of view, but, you all have another point of view that I don't see. So that's important for us to learn from you as well. So please take the time to fill out those surveys and then send those back or submit those so that the college gets those, and those go to our dean. So the dean is kind of like the principal for our department. And then there's the president, who's like the superintendent. So the dean takes care of the College of Workforce Development. That's the college that we're a part of. So she really needs to see those, because there are things that she doesn't hear from or doesn't see. She's not in the classroom. And we want to make sure that we're giving you guys the best opportunity that we can. All right? Okay, if you guys don't have any other questions, that's all I have for you today. We'll check in again next Tuesday. Make sure that you're some of you may have already taken your final by then, or maybe not. And we'll see what things we're going on, and we'll make sure we're all set to wrap up the semester, okay? All right, guys, we'll see you. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you in 2 weeks.